And the problem I've always had is it's rank, mate. It stinks after a while. You think, do you know what I mean? That's so, as I said sarcastically, you've been kind of doomsday prepping. Can you show me how to set up what you've set up? Which I think is really, really cool, and the purpose of it seems sensible when, certainly in the UK, you have large volumes of water.
So much rain, yeah. Well, I mean, I appreciate you building it up, but it really isn't that. Anyone who's listening, it really isn't that special. It's just a way of routing water through your water butt rather than just pouring it in through the drain hole at the top and letting it just do what it wants to do. You're showing it where to go. So probably the best bet is just to play the video. So the video on my experiment, it was basically putting a tube or a downpipe inside the barrel that would be the receptacle for the rain water that was coming in the top of the barrel, and the tube extends down to, say, half a foot from the bottom of the barrel, and the idea was to get the fresh rain that was coming in go into the downpipe inside the barrel in the water and expel the nice fresh rain in at the bottom of the barrel, and therefore pushing the stale old rain up the barrel and out the overflow first. So it was a sort of cycling system, so you'd always have nice fresh water in there, because I don't use the water too often, or I didn't. I do now, actually, much more than I used to, but we haven't had rain for weeks now. But I was worried, like you say, that it's going to go crappy and horrible and smell.
You're out of order there, mate, because you say it's nothing. I think, and I'd put it this way, Matt, I think it's ingenious that the way you've crafted it to make sure that the volume of expansion occurs at the bottom of the barrel to expel the older water at the top. So, whilst it does require, like I say, a level of constant, more circular rainfall in the UK, it wouldn't necessarily be good for those guys over there. I think it's absolutely genius to ensure that, especially if you're tapping from the bottom, you've really got the freshest of water. And that's just the one bit I wanted to say about it. We mentioned it earlier when we was talking with Zach about parts per million. And can you just do a bit on tap water and rainwater and distilled water as well? I think would be.
Well, only from what I've tested myself, and
that's what a surprise.
Yeah, funny that. It's I mean, our tap water here, I think, is particularly horrible. It's sometimes over 300 parts per million. Rainwater that I've collected out here, even on spraying days, has been 25, varies between 25 and 44 parts per million. So ultimately cleaner than the actual tap water. And then I distill tap water, and that comes out at maximum 2 to 3 parts per million, and that's what I drink. What I'm gonna start doing is distilling the rainwater, so that the distiller doesn't have as much. I don't know. That's whether it takes any. It will certainly have less limescale build up and crud at the bottom of it anyway, which makes me think that it's going to consume less energy, or it's going to be an easier job for the distiller. But yeah, that's about the basics of it.
Now, I hate to be vain for a second, but can everybody hear me now? Tesla's Apple says I sound a bit screwy.
I can hear you. But then I could last week.
Yeah, I was just checking on the live feed to see what they were talking about, and it's definitely hit and miss for some reason, but it sounds okay now.
Check your OBS
It's
settings
sometimes over 300 parts per million.
I might. I turned the desktop up there. Josh,
On a
when you
freaking
said
tightrope who don't know
you
what
gave me
he's
those
doing.
couple of hand signals. I don't know
Really
if that's
cool,
probably a
and the
better
purpose of
balance
it
now.
seems sensible
I
when
sound less screwy.
certainly in the
That
UK.
could have been it.
you have
Most of those hand
large
signals were just
volumes
my
of
thumbs up.
water.
So much
All
rain,
right.
yeah.
Accidentally flashed an
Well, I
okay
mean,
to tell you
I
that the sound was
appreciate
okay,
you
but
building
then
it
thought
up,
better
but
of it.
it
So
really
that might have
isn't
come across
that,
a little
anyone who's
goofy.
listening, it really
I don't
isn't
know
that
in what way
special.
those
It's
messages
just,
are coming across, but
um,
there appears to be
Well, yeah,
numerous
now
examples
Texas
of
Apple says that sound
metaphysical messaging going off today.
I can, you're just a little bit quiet on the stream, from what I'm hearing.
Who, Adam?
Yeah, sorry. But
No, go ahead and boost that level up, Adam, on the OBS on your mic.
Hear me now, Shabbat. That man.
Should be. Well, you should be able to see on the meter if it's going to be louder, because we won't hear it. It'll only come out on YouTube through OBS. It's OBS making it louder.
Fingers crossed. Let's pile on. If we get some critique, we'll worry.
Yeah, we'll just pretend it's good.
Didn't even notice last week. I wasn't bothered. Where were we, John? Yeah, are you gonna? Should we try and play your video and cock my sound up all over again? Now?
Well, someone will have to play it because mine's just spinning its wheels at the moment. I really don't know. I spent quite a lot of money on this piece of kit.
Will you just quickly stick it in the chat for me, John? So
Sure. It's
cheers, pal.
slightly up the chat, Adam.
Up my chat. Let me
Yeah.
have a look at my
So
chat.
up your chat.
I'm
Can't be
fucking-
too far back. It
I've
says,
gone back. There's a
says
picture of
especially
Laura,
for
look.
you, George. No, not that chat. Twitter.
No, that's what I mean. Put it. Oh,
Ah,
Twitter.
okay,
Oh, I know
okay.
I've got open Twitter now.
Don't worry, I'll get it. I'll get it. I'll get
Kid
it.
gloves, mate. Kid gloves.
Well, Phil then.
Who's Phil?
Hello, Phil. Glad to meet you.
Welcome on board, Phil. There we go.
Thank you, sir.
You better share it in Skype.
I'm just prepping. I'm prepping. Give me a second, you.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you better share it in Skype. I've just.
Oh, that's harsh. I'll see what I can do.
Well, since I did Arwen's poem, I want to talk about Issa. He did a live stream the other day, and he titled his live stream "Go Placidly Amid the Noise and Haste," which jumped out at me because there's a poem called Desiderata that has been hanging on a wall of my father's house since I was born. I was basically raised with this poem, so when I saw it, it immediately jumped out at me. I'm pretty sure I've read it at least once. Can't believe I'm saying this, at least a couple of years ago, possibly, because we've been doing this that long. But I figured I'd just give it another shot since we're doing a little bit of a poetry slam here with Arwen stuff.
Yeah, go for
I'd
it.
give it a shout out. It's pretty good stuff. Every time I read it, I sort of realize how it really is and has shaped and molded me as a person and as a man. It's really weird. Anyway, this is I think it was written by a fellow named Max Ehrman. I've heard a couple of different things. Even the title has been Desideratum or Desiderata. I guess it's Latin for that which is needed or something to that effect. Anyway, it goes like this. Go placidly amid the noise and the haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even the dull and ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain or bitter. For always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is in real possession in changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs. For the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself. Especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, nor in the face of ardity and in disenchantment. It is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be. And whatever your labors and aspirations, in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. With all its sham and drudgery and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful. Strive to be happy. So it's always stuck with me.
Wow, that's amazing, mate.
I haven't got a
Yeah,
soundboard,
that's
Josh.
awesome, man.
That is
Sorry, mate.
really, really
Yeah,
good. I'm gonna have to look that one up, print it out, and put it above
Yeah,
my
I'll tell-
boys' beds or something as well. Yeah, really cool.
I've
I
got to be
put one in
honest, John.
chat, but don't use it because they have a typo at the bottom and it says "Be careful and strive to be happy," which isn't bad advice either. But I like "Be cheerful" better.
Be careful, be cheerful. It reminded me of Rudyard Kipling's "If" poem, which I do have printed out, and yeah, it is "If," isn't it? Or is that Newton? Let me look it up. Anyway,
I'm not sure.
See, it doesn't sound familiar, but it did have a
Yeah.
very Rudyard Kipling vibe to it.
it was a Rudyard Kipling poem to his son, basically, saying how to be a man,
Wait, that
Isn't
does
it,
sound
wouldn't you be
familiar
a man,
now.
my son,
something like that.
That
Yeah,
sounds familiar now that you're saying that.
if you strive to blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that one, yeah.
that's right. And I don't know if it's called "If." I can't remember, but I'm sure someone will be able to find it. But anyway,
On
Adam,
my point, John,
Hmm.
I'm feeling a new OBS window coming on. I quite like that poem. I'll use anything to feed my addiction for OBS window. So
Always looking for an excuse.
that's what I'm saying. Just one more hit, Josh. One more.
I think there was a line in that, or several lines in that each of us could I don't know what the word is, equate to or feel familiar with, and I'm trying to remember the line that really struck out for me. But yeah, I'm going to have to listen to that again, mate. Really cool. Did your dad ever explain what it was, or read it to you, or anything like that, or was it just a sort of thing on the wall that was always been there?
It's been referenced. I'm sure he's read it to me a few times. As I remember growing up as a kid, the copy that was in my grandmother's house was actually said it was written by unknown and said it was found in an abandoned church. And of course, since then I've seen it's written by this guy named Max Ehrman back in 1927. So that's EHRMANN. For anybody that wants to look him up.
You're a blessed man, you know, because I said earlier there's not much poetry in my life, but the only thing I have from my childhood, Josh, was my grandma Hilda. Always used to remind me. She used to say, you know, well, I was always a flatulent child, and she said, "Don't you worry, son. You know, I always remember this gravestone. It was on a person's grave. Wherever ye be, let your wind go free. Church or chapel, let it rattle, for it was the wind that killeth me." So you're on a much cultural higher level, as I alluded to Zach earlier with alchemy. Thank you
pretty good.
for lifting me.
Well, the first one I remember memorizing was one of my dad's favorite when he was a kid. And I'm pretty sure I've recited it on the show before as well. It's called The Chief Defect of Henry King. It's real short. It's just kind of funny. It's just like a dark little poem. But it says, the chief defect of Henry King was chewing little bits of string. When at last he swallowed some, it tied itself in ugly knots inside. Physicians of the utmost fame were called at once, but when they came, they answered as they took their fees, there is no cure for this disease, for little Henry will soon be dead. His parents stood about his bed, lamenting his untimely death, when Henry, with his latest breath, cried, "Oh, my friends, be warned by me, that breakfast, dinner, lunch, and tea are all the human frame requires." And with that, the wretched child expires. So that's just a weird little poem that I was taught, memorized.
It's very strange. Yeah, I've got
Right.
no
Shall
culture.
we go back to John's book before we move on to a bit of perspective then?
Yeah, you got that all lined up? No, that was just my idea, Phil.
That was beautiful, was it?
I don't know if it was long enough though, mate.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Adam will prove us wrong right now by just miraculously playing. But this comes about. Oh, Phil,
You're on.
Comes about when Josh said, I was telling Josh that how did I know this worked? Because I made a model of it, and he said, did you record it? And I said no, and he was astonished because I record everything apparently. And so yeah, I recreated it today so that I could show it, and hopefully it shows that it's not bullshit.
It's showing now, John, and if I'm being honest with you, pal, I've got no idea how to share it with you. I had a couple of clicks of buttons and I've no idea. So I've put it up on screen. I'll play it, and if you'll humour me, I assume you know the video, but...
Well, Adam, just give me a chance now then to click all my frickin' buttons so I come over. Right. Okay, go.
Josh, do you know what I should do? Before I press play.
Don't jinx it.
Don't jinx it. I'm just going to press play. So I've got on screen, we got John's glass, which is a demo setup of what's out in the garden, isn't it? Basically.
Have I got the wrong screen? I'm looking at the wrong screen. Am I?
You've got sound on this, haven't you? Anyway, so I'll start it from the beginning, and I'll give you a shout in when the video's finished playing, mate. Yeah.
Okay. Whatever.
Okay, guys. So 1:59.
You'll have to go ahead and mash play. There you go.
Damn, we're good at this. Not hearing anything, is that right?
We are.
No.
2 Johns is enough. It's all good. Leave it, mate. I'll bring you back when it's done.
It's playing on YouTube.
All over again then.
Well, someone will have to play it because mine's just spinning its wheels at the moment. I really don't know. I spent quite a lot of the overflow pipe, so this is what I rigged up, and I just put some
Okay, so I've paused it there, guys, John, where you say, I hope that helps. It did. Well, that was a good demo. And I've kept it up on screen, mate, the diagram that you drew. So maybe, I know you don't need to see it to explain it, so.
I haven't seen anything or heard anything.
Well, it's your invention, you must know. But
Yeah.
I tell you what I liked was.
Oh, I can see it now.
The density, the colour of the dye that went in at the top. You saw that the dye that exuded at the bottom. First of all, you put a number of drops in and you thought it's not working. What you actually see is actually that downward force acting as it comes in, it pushes it down, and it actually the first bit of blue that you see come out is actually a much paler blue. So it does seem logical that it will work, and as long as there's an info, it seems genius, mate. But do you want to just maybe explain the mechanism better than me?
I don't know if I can. I mean, I didn't notice the watercolor. I think I was struggling so hard with the strength of that syringe. It was like syringing treacle. But yeah, once it went down into it, it just showed that I don't know, it came out the bottom. I don't know why I would think it wouldn't, but for some reason I wanted it to be down the bottom, like you say, where the tap is, so that you're getting the freshest rainwater down there, and it's cycling itself. And I was just surprised that it worked, to be honest.
Now, what would happen if you put, say, the rainwater was warmer than the water that was already in there? Would that water rise to the top?
It would rise to the top. Well, I mean, I'm going to guess, but it's right. It would rise to the top of the pipe, and then it would slowly equalise with the water below it, and then it would still have to come out the bottom.
Yeah,
I would question that, John.
Into it.
So would I.
Yeah, the problem you've got, right, is, if you put warm water in at the bottom, yes, then convection currents would take it upwards. The trouble you've got is that you're putting warm water in the short pipe, the contained pipe. So what's going to happen is that warm water is going to sit there. It might slightly warm some of the water around the pipe. It's going to sit there until the temperature equilibrates, and then it will drop down, is what I would suggest.
But that's only after it stops raining and water stops flowing through.
Yeah, because pressure's going to force it through because you've got the outlet pipe at the top.
Well, let's not put this into reality terms, because rain isn't hot. But in terms of physics, it would be easily testable, because I think you could be wrong. Because you would say then that no hot water would come out of the bottom of the pipe, so it would actually overflow. Is that what you're saying?
No, if you're talking thermodynamics, then what would happen is you would add the heat at the top, and until just not via convection currents, but until via just straight thermal transmission, the tube, the water in the tube heated up, so the bottom of the water at the bottom of the tube was of a sufficient temperature for convection currents to allow. Then that would start to pull stuff through as well.
I think as the water always holds its level, I think the weight of the water, no matter what temperature it is, would eventually push it out of the bottom. And I think, I think initially.
God, we're being anal.
Just get a glass.
Well, we just need to do it, don't we?
With hot dye.
Hashtag test it.
Make sure you video it this time.
You
And make sure
read
you
my mind, mate.
And narrate it sometime after, say, 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., something like that. So that was my biggest complaint about that last video, John, was that I thought for sure you asked somebody to make that video for you. I did not think that was you narrating. That was you doing the video.
I told you that was Bob Savage, my younger brother.
I thought maybe it's a full video and he just compressed it down to fit in his minute 7 seconds for some reason. That's the exact length of time he wanted it, so he compressed it, and that just made his voice a little bit higher, about 2 tones higher than it normally is.
Nope. Probably not.
Then it's got to be his little brother. That was my next guess.
And then now you talk to like a 432 now.
Jekyll and Hyde, mate. It's I put it down to the microphone on the camera, and this
I'm
one
the same way.
is a lot better.
I just stay Mr. Hyde, and you'll never catch me as Dr. Jekyll. Maybe a little bit in the morning and a little bit. No, just a little bit in the morning. That's about it.
I'll have to compare the voice now to some of my earlier experiments and see if they're high pitched during the day. And
just compare it to this hangout. Go back and play that video, and then play this one, and then play that one, and play this one, and you'll see.
Well, I did tell you that was that was pre-weed, pre-weed o'clock.
Maybe that's when my voice is always so low.
No pre.
No pre. Like I said, a little bit in the morning, but even then, my vocal cords are relaxed, so then my voice is still real low.
I'll tell you what I was surprised about is the fact that water butt is 250 litres, but it's only fed by a 3-metre stretch of guttering, and I've got at least another 12 meters of guttering, and that thing will from empty that it literally takes maybe 1 rainstorm or 2 rainstorms to fill it up. It's incredible.
That's awesome.
How are you filtering, John?
I've got a little bit of fly screen over the pipe that comes into the barrel, and I go out and unplug it and shake it every now and again and put it back in. Or when I see it's set up in such a way that all the rainwater should get diverted into the barrel. So if I see, like behind the barrel, the downpipe continues and goes into the drain. So if I see any water going into the drain from the grey downpipe rather than the overflow from the barrel, then I know there's a blockage in the barrel, and I just unplug the pipe. And yeah,
it's illegal to collect rainwater here.
Seriously. I mean, I've heard that, obviously. I've heard people are jailed in Florida and things like this but how do they justify that? I mean, how do they justify the fat tax? But that's amazing, isn't it? Collecting rainwater is illegal.
Mm-hmm.
They own the clouds.
It's like some 4th of July stuff in. Everybody's celebrating their freedoms, like their inability to collect the water from the sky.
Yeah.
I've thought of another home saving for you, John. It was something I saw on my water bill. Now, we know that legally they can't stop your water supply, and it's dubious whether they should be charging you. But what I've noticed on the water bill, that actually more than 50% of it now is made up of taking away wastewater from your property, which is, when I rang up to say, what does that mean? I says, I don't have wastewater. Do you know what I mean? Other than the thing, it's basically is rainwater. So the water that comes off your property down into the drains is what 50% of your water bill is what they're charging you for. So you might be due a rebate, mate, if you can
get enough barrels.
I've got it here. It's not gone in your drain, mate. Look, it's here.
Yeah. I'd need a few of those ICBMs or whatever they are. No, that's intercontinental ballistic missile. No, that's not what I need.
Nah, probably do it.
What I need is those 1,000-litre tanks in metal, not missiles. I didn't mean missiles. That's interesting, though, Adam. I'll have to look at it. I mean, my next step would be to tell the water company to shove its bill up its arse and pay my bill for having to run my distiller and change my Berkey water filter just to get the crap out of the shit that they're pumping to me and charging us quite a hell of a lot. I mean, I'm old enough to remember in the 90s not having a water bill. It was free. You remember, Adam?
I was a student then, so it was free anyway. We never paid the fucker. You know what I mean? So
Well, it was
was
like,
we just moved on.
you know, in Ireland now it's free, and they're trying desperately, and they've had riots and marches and everything they've been trying to charge for water, and we have collective amnesia in this country, because I've said this to anyone that I've brought it up to, that I remember when we didn't have water bills. One just turned up one day in my flat in London, and I was so borg, I paid it, probably. I can't remember. But, yeah, I bring this up to all sorts of people, and they don't seem to remember. And it wasn't that long ago, you know. We're only talking 20 years ago.
No, it's a weird thing. Like I say, it's more perverse now. That they've filtered that in quite easily. But what you're seeing now is what's probably more exemplified in the States is what you guys were talking about, in terms of you're not even technically allowed to collect rainwater, which seems to be a very strange and unenforceable law anyway. But how do they even try to fear porn you into that?
Well, see, some of the people are actually damming off their properties where rainwater would usually flow away. They're making like a little pond or this or that, and stopping the natural flow of water that it would normally have, and yada yada yada. So they're saying that, but now they're saying you can't even collect it in buckets and things like that.
It always takes one twat, though, doesn't it, to take it too far. That's like dynamite fishing your local bay, you know, and then just going, well, it's my right to take the fish, you know. Take what what you can consume, not damming your river. I mean, that's just ridiculous. But again, how much of that could be fake news and bullshit and fed, set up for us to give them the excuse, you know, the Hegelian dialect on it. They seem to, you know, I mean, we just play to it every day.
Well, you got, ABC News have got like Cletus has dammed off and shut off the water to lower LA or something. You know what I mean? It's
and the Gulf of Mexico is dried up, and you know, and this guy claims he has a right, and you know,
surely the logic is if it's on your, once that water enters your land, then it's yours anyway. Surely by American kind of law, it becomes your property, and therefore it's your right to stop it leaving your property. Surely,
if it is your property, or if it's rented.
Yeah, you really have to look at what kind of title you have. There's only one kind of title that grants you ownership of your land, and I forget the actual name of it now.
Alloidal.
Alloidal. Thank you very much. That is the only kind of title here in the United States that actually grants you full rights of your land, where you don't pay taxes. You're not renting it. You actually own it. And 99.9% of the people here have never heard of it.
And good luck trying to get it in the UK on the Queensland.
Exactly.
No chance.
But that's how royalty buys all their land. That's how these very wealthy families, all of them, that's when they purchase land, they get alloidal titles. Yeah. They don't. This is one of those secrets, like Harry Potter world, that they don't tell. They're not allowed to tell normal people about.
It is like Harry Potter, isn't it? It's just.
I
mean, it's different language. We are the Muggles. They are living in a metaphorical different world to us. They see things we don't see. They can go places we can't go. It's just. It is Harry Potter all over.
Their secrets very, very seriously. Their secrets are very, I mean, they take oaths, you know, and it's an oath of death if you divulge the secret.
Well, I think Harry Potter is an allegory for current life and the life within the two tiers that we live in, or the several tiers that we live in.
because I forget which one it was. See, my little brother was growing up through all this stuff, so I got to watch them all and everything. I think it was one of the last ones. It's when the bad wizards were taken over and they were being seen in the Muggle world now and this and that. And there was a new prime minister just named, and he was in his office the night that he won and this and that. And a painting came to life on the wall and told him, okay, yeah, we're really in charge. We're not going to, you're never going to hear from us. This would hopefully be the only time we ever speak. But if anything's going to happen, we'll let you know about it. And then you can tell your lies or whatever to all the stupid muggles. But we're in charge. This is how it is, yada, yada, yada. And I bet that's how it is. As soon as you get named whatever, they sit you down and say, okay, this is how it is. We're the ones that run the show. You're pretty much here for entertainment values, and that's it.
Well, if I was going to have a dastardly plan, that's how I would do it. So, if I can think it, they've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years to do it.
You will never know the name of the person that's really the people in charge. They're not that dumb.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And it's probably the guy down at the corner slinging newspapers or this or that. That's the real funny part.
I mean, this is where I would subscribe. I'd like to toy with the idea of the puddle theory and just think they're not even in this puddle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right,
Or
exactly. On one of those outer lands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's still a lot of land on this plane. In this puddle, we still haven't even really gone deeply into.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, none of us know that there isn't some massive continent in the South Pacific or something, for example. It doesn't even have to be a massive continent, does it? I mean, look at their strongholds that they have. The City of London, the Vatican, the DC. Things, countries like Brussels, Belgium, and these little places. I mean, it doesn't take an enormous continent. It could just be a small island, for crying out loud, that is just off every shipping channel, surrounded by depth charges and every bit of technology conceivable. But look at me going all theoretical, eh? Can do it.
Yeah, it's good to let your mind flow, isn't it? Sometimes. But as long as we know that it's theoretical.
Well, of course, I would say let's get a boat and go find out. Like Olaf or whatever it was. Who's the guy, the failed political guy in America that allegedly up sticks, got on his boat and sailed to the Antarctic and went through it was the Iron Republic, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't remember the bloke's name, but that is.
I tried looking him up. I couldn't find any record of him, but I'm used to, I'm no.
Olaf is Worlds Beyond the Pole.
That's right.
Where he travels north. He's
with his
he's
son,
the fisherman's son. Yeah.
And they end up in the South Pole, don't they?
Well, they come out at the South Pole.
Yeah, there's a couple of them, but the Iron Republic. Was it the Iron Republic?
Iron Republic's the one with the failed politician that, in a boat, and then discovers and marries, and it goes a bit weird.
Yeah, we deviated here, but anyway, yeah. The point was, I'd like to map the entire landmass that we know, but where do we get the funds for that? You think Patreon would cover that?
Give it a go, John.
Come on, Elon. Give us over your bank balance and let's sort this shit out. Give us a year.
What did I say? Where did I see today? Somebody said Elon Musk is that guy that did South Park. What's his name? You've got the InfoWars conspiracy of I forget the bloody names now.
Elon's a doppelganger for someone else?
Yeah, what's the guy? Josh Rogan, is it? Not Josh Rogan. The bloody guys that did South Park and comedian. Oh, that's Trey Parker, isn't it? Oh man.
Yeah, that's Trey Parker. I don't know.
He'll come back.
What the hell are you talking?
I don't even.
Let's go back on the roadmap. Where are we?
It'll come. It'll come.
Perspective, wasn't it? We were talking about next.
Oh, you see, I'm trying to think of that bloody comedian. Yeah.
Are you talking about Bill Hicks and Alex Jones?
Yeah, that's one of them, innit? So somebody said today it was. Oh, just move on. It'll come in about an hour and a half time.
So are we going to get into perspective now?
Who wrote Family Guy?
Alex, or what's his name?
Seth MacFarlane.
Thank you. There you go. Seth
I could
MacFarlane and Elon Musk. There you go. I don't know where I saw it, but fucking crap point.
There's a
Sorry.
resemblance there. Not enough, though.
Not enough.
I'm looking at Elon right now, and there's not enough of a resemblance there for them to be the same person. It's close. I'll give
But
him
if
that.
you look at the earlobe diametrics and the tooth pattern I was missed.
Could they be the same model? I think Elon is a robot.
A clone robot type Robotoid, yeah. That's what it feels like. No soul, just a automaton.
What was that story that was written?
Oh,
Going to Mars, and it was all led by a kid named Elon.
Yep.
that was von Braun, wasn't it? Warner von Braun's book about the leader of Mars being Elon.
Something like that.
The Elon, yeah. The Elon, innit?
I wish his deathbed confessions could have been put on, record.
Well, I didn't
see
tell
that
you this.
lady.
Elon? No, I'm kidding.
Friend of mine was at von Braun's deathbed. No, I'm joking. Aleister Crowley was enough.
Yeah, but that one lady said the alien invasion will be the last, the card that they play. There'll be all these different things about food shortages and energy crisis and all kinds of population and this and that and yada, yada, yada. And then they'll play their alien invasion card.
It's like the prediction of the 5 wars, isn't it?
Crazy.
The guy made in, 1927 or whatever. There's going to be the director of the CIA or something. Can't be the only one who knows what I'm talking about.
Now, I know Albert Pike supposedly said about the 3 wars.
1800s, isn't it?
1860s, I think. He said something about World War I, World War II, and then the last war to end religion, the Christians versus the Muslims. That'd be the last final war. Bring in a one world religion, government, economy, all of that stuff. And the craziest part about it is people like Theodore Roosevelt were big pushers of eugenics, and they don't teach that stuff in our history books.
Funny.
It wasn't just like Hitler that was into eugenics and stuff like that. I mean, there were a lot of big name famous people in this country that were, firm believers and that we need to get rid of a lot of the population.
Well, in the UK, we had eugenics courts where they would sentence you to be sterilised, and it was all open and normal, and then it suddenly sort of got shamed and shunned, and they changed eugenics to Planned Parenthood.
Yep. But yeah, they didn't hide this stuff back in the day until, like you said, it got shunned.
No, it was seen the other way. I mean, it was seen as the thinking of the intellectual, of the higher-minded intellectual. Obviously, the ones who wouldn't be sterilised. Funny how that works, eh? Incidentally,
you're never gonna pick yourself, are you?
Exactly. But has anyone seen evidence of Bill Gates alive lately? I'm just asking for a friend.
Infowars. I'm only joking.
No.
Bill Gates, sorry. Is that Microsoft bloke, John?
Yeah, that's the one.
No, I haven't heard anything.
I've not seen him poisoning children in Africa recently, no.
I've just heard rumours of his death, but I don't know if that's accurate or not. Just wondering if anyone's seen
might be cracking that beer a little bit earlier than I thought, Adam.
What's that?
That's where we might be cracking a beer earlier than I thought.
Do it.
If Bill Gates bid it, I'll have a beer to that. I'll poison my temple a little bit.
Yeah. Worrying man.
Let's just hope his parents planned it.
Let's get some perspective then, guys.
Go on then, take it away.
Shall I? Right. Oh, where do I start? I was on Nathan's this week, weren't I? Just sitting there holding a place more than anything because I'm sat in the garden and that, but kind of getting engrossed. And Ranty did a presentation, so I'm sat there kind of watching it. I'll see if I can pull it up. I've got the picture ready, but let me just get there. And it's this one here, which is we've all kind of seen before, which is the windmills at distance, and he's kind of doing it, and here he's got these numbers on screen, which is talking about the value between the first one and the last one, and he's kind of made this presentation here that I'm not disputing it's totally correct in terms of the masses used. It is the first one has a hidden value of 54 feet, and the back one a hidden value of 86 feet, which means there should be a 32-foot difference between the relative viewing of those two wind turbines. So I'm watching it a bit, and I'm not disagreeing with it, because what I thought was really cool was Ranty had said, yeah, what we've got to do here to get these things is realise that we have to calculate both of the distances from the observer's perspective. And I do disagree with the numbers he's used, because I said he's used the hidden value, and I think you actually have to use the drop value. Now, the differences aren't too much in terms of the differentials, but it does have an implication in terms of observer reality. And a shout out to Quantum, because like the flat Earth community was kind of twitching on this. We kind of talked on it. It's generated a bit of debate, I think, and I'm like I say, I kind of made my supposition on the fly, and I'm not 100% sure yet either. I've not critiqued myself, if you know what I mean. But so we kind of got this picture here. Do you kind of understand that principle there, guys?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think I got it.
Actually, there's a great shot there from Chris Monk. I'll just get that. That's not the one. Feel for me, guys, if you can. Just give me a second.
Well, basically, but the way I see it is, if you drew a line from the centre of the first fan, whatever it is, turbine, to the centre of the last turbine, then that shouldn't be on a sphere Earth. That shouldn't be a straight line. It should be slightly curved, which is what Soundly has been faking for over Pontchartrain for quite a while now. And then this is what you ask him to do, isn't it?
Yeah. So,
well, you carry on.
Well, Ranty, to be fair, addresses that, and the differential in terms of being able to distinguish it in a photograph is very difficult, up to 20 or 30 miles, I think. I'd hold Ranty to the exact numbers, but he's done some work on that. But even if that's the case, it's this next picture you can see here that's got the. I'll make it full screen. It's probably better for folks. Which is here, which is kind of the thing. I was sitting there and kind of made me think, hello, this doesn't make sense, because this is ball maths. So what we've got here is now a second row of turbines, which are, and I'll try and get the distances, bear with me. I think it's about 5 or 6 miles further back, basically, from start to difference. And in these photographs, the front turbine is basically about 2 miles distant from the back turbine. Yeah.
Can I just ask, is that a real photo then? Because I thought you'd cut and pasted. I thought you got Ranty to paste
that's a real photo.
It slightly larger in the foreground, representing something that was nearer. I didn't realise this was actually a real photo. That's even better.
So I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at the maths of what Ranty's talking about, and Ranty's describing this line, and he's clearly demonstrating how straight it is, and this should be a kind of drop off, as you're describing, John. Even if you can draw a line between the front and the back one, there should be a discrepancy. Or if you go from the first and the second one, you should really see the bottom one just drop a little bit lower, because this is over 2 miles. But more importantly, it's over 2 miles from a viewing distance of 20 miles. And that's the point we'll get to later. But so there's the first set. So these are like, what I'm saying, 13, 14 miles away, and the other one's sort of 20 odd miles away, I think. Forgive me if it's incorrect, those numbers. Now, I've done a bit of ball maths. So the way I'm then viewing it is to follow these lines down and understand what that would then do in terms of just the ball mass. Forget perspective. I mean, what we're seeing here is a great example of perspective, the two straight lines. But the point I was trying to think of was that the second row should be curving a lot more than the first row. So what I asked Ranty to do here was just to kind of show that the two lines were the same. If you can see that basically the front one of this turbine goes at the same angle as the front one of this turbine to the back turbine, corresponding, yeah? That's shown by the box, yeah? So the angle from the front to the back is the same. Okay, so that in itself is non-equal with ball maths. So
that in itself is massive.
Yeah,
I would say.
Okay, so what we've got here, look, this is the maths that Ranty's done, and again I'll premise it with this is the hidden values, not the drop values. But what you've got here with this in this shot, if you apply all the maths, and I won't bore you with it too much, is that the height differential in terms of the geometric values is in terms of the hidden geometric values is 4 feet from this one to this one. Okay, so if you calculate it, and I'll show you in a bit, if you drew it across a straight line across from this one all the way across to here and then up to this red line, look, then
are people seeing your cursor or not? Because I'm not, but anyone else?
Okay, well, I'll wait a bit to make this point then, because Ranty draws the lines in for me. But basically, the differential between the front and the back, excuse me, turbines is 4 feet. Now, if you then do the same maths on the starting point of this front turbine and this turbine here, then the differential becomes 32 feet.
The only thing
Go on, Zach.
The only thing I was going to say was, now this is where the whole angular size of 4 feet to 32 feet, if the 32 feet is that much further away, has the angular size decreased it enough to make up that difference? That's the only thing I was thinking of. We'd have to get a right angle calculator out, and we could do it pretty much with.
This is the trouble. What we're seeing here is perspective, and we're kind of humoring the position realistically.
I'm playing devil's advocate.
Yeah. So obviously, if you want to know why these things are both linear in their reduction, it's because it's a function of perspective. What we're trying to describe is how this reduction would occur if the reduction was due solely to curvature. Now, obviously, once you've done the curvature, perspective also applies. So the effect would be curvature and perspective. And that's kind of the point that Nathan and Riley and Ranty have been banging on about, and the whole community is waking up to, the mugging off with their incorrect maths. So we've got this, and I just want to kind of just finally exemplify it just a little bit if I can. I'm just trying to find a bit where later on where I beg Nathan to carry on the show to just satisfy my OCD, because I did want to kind of.
Mm-hmm. Can I say something real quick? I just
go while I'm
bang something home. Without any atmospheric conditions, okay, if you had a perfect zero vacuum, and you had a ceiling on, or just a sky and the land, all right, things would still disappear from the bottom up. You do not need atmospheric conditions for this to take place. This will simply happen with a spherical eye looking at a planar surface.
Yeah.
With how the angles work. You don't need looming and refraction and all this stuff for the bottom to disappear first.
It's been demonstrated, hasn't it?
Exactly.
By Phuket World, by Rob Skiba, by again and again and again. For some reason, ballers just don't seem to. They have cognitive dissonance block on this one.
Mathematically, it can be proven. Just with angles and
angular resolution. Yeah, absolutely.
Right there. Yeah. It's so simple that they're avoiding that at all costs.
And these are the points.
We don't need. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, mate.
You're right. Yeah, go on.
No, I'm just thinking these are the pressure points, aren't these? Are the points. This is Arwen's poem that says we need to push these points of that there is no, and this is what's bringing me round to Riley and Oakley and Ranty's sort of focus, is that these are the points that we need to press because there are no answers for them, and that's why we need to press those points again and again and again.
Let me just press this point then finally. If you look on screen, and I just want you to see the image here. So from the ball maths, forgetting perspective, okay, what you can see is, look here, Ranty's got 4 feet. Now this gap here from the triangle that's being formed at the front pylon, front turbine, should be basically from the center of the turbine 4 foot down, will be perpendicular with the center of the back pylon. Okay, now if you then apply the same mathematics to the back row, then that distance should be 32 feet because of the curvature of the earth. Now, as you can see, look, the angle that's created between that perpendicular line and the angled lines on both of them is the same, okay? But it can't be the same if the differences are 4 feet and 32 feet. You would have to have a much lower turbine on the back. The final back turbine would have to be so much lower as to create a 32 foot triangle on the front turbine.
You'd need a quotation marks soundly.
Well, it certainly needs a bit of dodgy lens to curve it, yeah. But this is a clean shot, and that's the interesting thing, isn't it?
But that's essentially what you're saying, isn't it? Is that it should sort of curve away, fall away exponentially, even over these distances. You should be able to see that, and what you're showing is that we don't see that. It's acting and behaving exactly as it should do on a plane, a flat plane.
Yeah. What you're seeing
Brilliant.
there, what is clearly perspective, look, because the two angles of differential they're created are relative to each other. As they get further away in the distance, they're following those perspective lines we're all familiar with seeing.
That's it, and that's what we mean by perspective, is that things get smaller as they get more distant, and it's that simple.
Yeah.
But if we were living on a ball, it would exponentially fall away. That would be shown. There wouldn't be parallel lines there. Sorry, Zach.
No, I was just gonna say that was a great catch, Adam. That was.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you, sir.
I can't believe nobody's. That was the first I've ever heard of that idea, that thought. And after 3 years, it's hard to come up with a lot of new ones of those, especially when you're talking about Earth curve and the calculator. I mean, there have been people drumming away at this for a long time.
But it is one of those things. It's one of those things, Zach, that when you do watch it, you just slap yourself in the head and go, "Oh, why didn't I think of that? Why? It's just one of those, which I find so often in flat Earth. Someone's just concentrated on one thing and looked at it and looked at it and then just come out with something. My perspective blew me away all the time, and it was just slap your head and go, oh, so obvious.
Yeah, very well done.
So there's the big acid test now. Whoa, Josh, does this make sense? Is it a happy proof for you?
I'm sorry, I was looking at chat.
No, I'm here listening. I'm just wondering why I was sort of, well, let's see if I dumbed it down just enough for Josh to catch.
Yeah, frankly, I apologize for the insult, but yeah.
But yeah, that's no, I get it. It makes perfect sense to me. And for your record, I've not looked at chat in quite a while, actually.
I was trying to be Walt.
My apologies.
You're not from Louisiana, are you?
Am I from Louisiana? Nope.
I was trying to impersonate Walt, and you thought I was trying to impersonate you. Dear, my voice must be low.
John, it was that good an impression.
I'm sorry, I was looking at chat. Does that not sound like Walt? Where is Walt?
You know who that sounds more like? That sounds more like the black housemaid in the Tom and Jerry.
No, I'll tell you who it sounds like. It's Bob Savage, my younger brother. Where is Walt?
To the question, does that not sound like Walt? The answer is yes. That does not sound like Walt.
I'll have to work on that one then.
Is Walt there though?
I'm going to guess Walt is eating. That, or Walt is just finally nodded off.
Yeah, taking his nap.
Once the numbers started flying, he just decided to.
Are we done with perspective?
No, mate. I'm just putting up the perspective. Yeah, go.
I was wondering if we were going to do any space lettuce. We didn't cover that at the beginning.
We didn't, did we? How long have we been going, Josh?
Almost 3 hours. We'll be coming up on 3 hours here soon.
See, Zach, you're a natural. That's perfect timing, isn't it? Look at that.
There you go. We got 7 minutes of space lettuce.
Well, as I recall, we even had some flat Earth space lettuce, something.
Yeah.
But we had a story that we've seen recently come up that I know is several years old, but it was being pushed out again as it's new. And I guess if people are just now coming across this information, I guess they would probably put it out as if it were new or something extraordinary. But I've seen this video of a video game about sniping a flat earther and trying to kill a flat earther. This crazy flat earth teacher teaching the kids that the earth is flat. And they're on a field trip, and it's your job as a sniper assassin to take out the teacher on the bus or some such nonsense.
Yeah, I think it says fire him literally.
Yeah, and maybe I've been Mandela'd a little bit here, but I'm pretty sure I remember Mark Sargent talking about this at least a couple years ago. But maybe I'm wrong. I will check chat. If anybody knows in chat, if they have heard this story of this sniper game about killing the flat earth teacher before this week. This is about the first time I've seen it in the last couple of years, but I'm pretty sure I remember this very distinctly.
I genuinely don't. It's still sad and pathetic, really, isn't it? But I don't know if you have been Nelson's, mate.
I'd love to back you up, and I too have some vague recollection of him talking about this as a possibility of a game to come out. I don't know if he was talking about a game that was out or he'd seen or whatever, but similarly, a couple of years ago, could have been talking about anything.
I think I even remember seeing the gameplay from the game. Maybe not from the actual sniping the teacher or something, but I'm pretty sure this is not new. I don't know. It seems chat's gone quiet. Or everybody just tuned out. One or the other.
Well, I think there was a game called Sniper or something that had come out and caused controversy, and people were up in arms about it because there obviously were some episodes of alleged sniping going on in America.
We had a game that came to my arcade that we had called Sniper. That was back in like 98, something like that, 98, 99, 98.
Wow, that's a long time ago.
It's been a while, but it caused a lot of controversy because it had, a lot of urban settings.
And of course, causing controversy means that in 98, probably as a mid-20-year-old young, dumb, full of cum guy, I'd have been right on that, just like GTA and all the other programming I was receiving. And it only takes 1 in a million to take it into the real world for them to cause the incident that they can use to their own advantage in Hegelian dialect, i.e. gun control.
Yeah, absolutely. And now I don't even think they wait for it anymore. I think they're so tired of waiting, and that they over-fluoridated the population here so much that it's not working. People aren't going out and doing this, so they just fake it.
I completely agree. I think some lunatic like that Chemtrail Keith guy came in and said, here's $1 billion project. We're going to write this game called GTA, and so many kids are just going to go off their heads and go out and go kill sprees and everything. And I don't think it happened that way. I think as much as they think we're dumb as assholes, I don't think we really are that dumb. The majority of us, and I think they've done exactly what you said. They got tired of waiting, and they've decided to fake it.
Yeah, and it's easier when they fake it,
Yeah, and I think they did the same
the narrative
with the Middle East threat. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that's why they ended up faking 9/11. They've been poking the Middle East for so many years, blowing up their weddings and bombing their villages and everything else, hoping and praying, and they had the rat lines in place to facilitate anyone who was willing to do this or cause some sort of event on US soil, and no one did. I think it got to the point where no one did, and they decided, we need a catalyst in here, and they decided to fake it, and they've been doing it ever since.
Saddam Hussein wanted to start his own currency with gold, is backing it.
Muammar Gaddafi.
Wanted to start a currency with gold. The only two countries left that are first world countries that aren't in a Rothschild's banking system structure are Syria and Iran.
Yep.
And that tells you the whole story right there.
Does.
Where have we been the last couple years trying to get into, banging on their door.
And that was the 5 wars that I was talking about. I know you were talking about the earlier one back in the God knows whatever century or lie it was, but that was the one I was talking about. There was I think it was an ex-CIA director or something who said, we're going to go into Lebanon, Yemen, Syria, Kuwait, Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, and it just happened exactly how he was saying it. I don't think he lasted too long, to be fair.
Neither did that list. I think there's only 3 countries left.
North Korea, Syria, Iran.
Yep.
That's it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Now take a look at United States, who we're poking and who we're provoking in the last couple of years.
Is Wakanda not on that list?
Was what? I didn't get that.
Wakanda?
That probably would have been a reference. You may have missed it, John, as a Black
just-
Panther reference.
It was just for Ether.
I'm used to it.
So has everybody seen the last one that they made, the Avenger one?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay, we can't
yeah.
talk about it after the show yet, so okay.
I'm so behind on stuff.
I've got to wait for Showbox.
Yeah, I was trying to watch it on my Fire Stick, but I'm having to update my system apparently.
Are you using
And
Kodi?
that's for after show. Yeah, that's
So
after show.
what you'll need to do. Well, actually, this might be something that other people
thing.
use.
Okay, go.
Use the little apps for Kodi, because so many times they'll just stop updating one, so you'll have to download new apps to be able to watch your stuff, which we had to do recently. The last couple we've used have gone out, so we had to download one called Placenta, and the other one was called not Poseidon. It'll come to me. It's something water related.
This is when I realise I've completely missed a whole new language. I don't know what on Fire Stick, placentas, and I've missed it.
Right.
I don't even know what it is at the
Covenant quit
moment.
working.
But
Exodus was still for a little while working, but it quit working. Right, so I need new stuff. Do I have to get GitHub, or do I go from? See, that's what I don't know. I think they've updated the whole thing since I messed with it last, because everything looks different when I went to that part.
No, you can download it right from that Kodi repository.
Okay, cool.
That's where she got it from. And Placenta and the other one should come together, so you'll get them both at the same time.
Sweet. Okay, cool deal. I'll tell her right now, actually.
is it because I don't have a mobile phone?
It's a TV thing. It's free TV.
Ah, right. It's the TV thing.
Yeah, Amazon makes a special little Fire Stick so that you can plug it into your TV and get Amazon Prime and Amazon Movies and Amazon Television. But you can take that and jailbreak it and allow outside third-party apps to come in there and use it as well. So aside from Amazon, you can get this Kodi app, and with Kodi you can get all these different things that'll play movies for free and TV for free and all sorts of snazzy little things.
Does no one go to Putlocker or similar?
I do.
Well, that's what this does.
Yeah.
What this does is
But this does it in the
compiles
comfort of your living room on the
Mhm, and
big,
it
big
compiles
TV.
all of them, and it'll give you a list of 42 different ones from all the sites, and you can just pick which quality, which one you want.
Okay, cool.
It allegedly will go all the way up to 4K. I've never picked one up in 4K, but it supposedly does.
You'd need a 4K TV for that, though, wouldn't you?
Right, but it's supposed to even hit, like, it's complicated. When you do searches, it tells you what's close to your area, and it has to do with bandwidth, and I'm sure that's a lot of my problem here in this area. Even if I had a 4K TV, I doubt I could get a 4K stream here.
That would take a lot of data.
Right. That's probably crash my whole system. So I'm happy with what I get.
You'd be better off downloading it, wouldn't you? If that's possible. You know, spending 4 hours downloading it and then being able to watch it properly without having to buffer or stream it. And
Yeah.
Right.
Stop
'Cause
halfway
even
through.
with a good stream, it'll stop sometimes.
Yeah, that's right. No, I didn't. I gave my kids the link to watch The Adventures of Mark Twain. That ring a bell?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they
Think so.
loved it. I haven't watched it yet, but for once, Daddy got something right, and they love it. So cheers for that.
We were watching. We were just talking about it, and my girlfriend reminded me what we were watching. But it was just something very obscure. And on the television, on the show we were watching, they were watching that clip where they go to what is apparently hell.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it. It's been recommended by my kids now, so I better watch it.
Right?
Anyway, are we
Hold on,
fading?
It's a handful.
Are we what?
Are we
I talked
fading?
over you. Oh, fading. Okay.
It's time
Like I
to
said,
wrap up.
faded since I woke up. I live my life faded, John.
I just want to rather go out with a bang than a fizzle, you know.
Well, then don't go out with that. Go out with a bit
out.
of space grease. Let's lubricate our way out of here.
Whoa, that was a loud one. We still got a lot of fireworks going off.
Cool.
Yeah, here too.
Josh, what do you
I
want me
got a
to?
couple white zucchini that are ready.
I have two the size of my forearm
Yeah, down in
sitting on my counter. I got about 4 more that should be coming off sometime next week. I got probably 6 or 7 yellow squash. I have cucumbers, tomatoes. Finally got some cherry tomatoes that are coming in ready to ripen. I have some jalapenos that need to come off probably yesterday. My little garden put it out.
Ooh, get off my aloe vera plant. What do you think you're doing? We had an agreement here, friend. Sorry. Talking to plants while we're on. Yeah, I told that vine he can go anywhere he wants as long as he doesn't mess with the aloe vera plant.
And you know what happens when you tell a kid to not do something?
Yeah, I know. First thing they go and do. One of my golden seal plants is laying down now all of a sudden. That one leaf right there. This guy's looking good. His buddy's looking good. These are looking okay down here. And we got this there, right there, and right here. 7 out of 12. Look at the size of this tomato plant. It's probably about 4 feet tall now.
Well, are they like really thirsty? Because I seem to be pouring tons of water on mine, and
Okay,
they're sucking it up. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, think about how much
Yeah,
water
right now
is in a
it's
tomato.
Yeah.
Mm.
See, if you miss it, if you miss a couple days of watering and then start watering again, you'll see because you'll split them. They'll start
Right.
sucking
Oh, yeah.
that water, and then they'll just get too big, and the skin will split.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
I got a lot of new starts. These are all new guys right here.
Zach, do you grow cannabis?
No,
Outside or
no.
no? Not allowed.
That's illegal. It's illegal here in Indiana.
Sucks, doesn't it? Because it grows so well in the ground.
Oh man, it grows all over, wild around here. It's amazing. Got some strawberries that look like they're about ready.
Ooh, nice. I've got a strawberry plant this year. I've got a strawberry plant and 2 tomato plants and a money tree for some reason. Any use for a money tree?
No, it's a money tree.
Money, 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 money.
Anyone else know what a money tree is? It's
Yeah, my mom used to have a couple of them around the house just for decoration.
That's crap, because my mom always said money doesn't grow on trees.
Yeah, I don't know what they are. Are they? I don't know. This thing's about, I don't know, foot and a half tall. It's got big bulbous leaves that look like thumbs. That I don't know. It's sort of, the leaves sort of feel like aloe vera, but I've never.
They almost have a succulent to it.
Yeah.
I'll have to look up if there's any
That's
medicinal
why my mom
use.
had them, because she was a huge fan of succulents. That's what she preferred over any plant, because it was harder to kill.
Well, this thing is hard to kill, I must say. I mean, they were both brought home from a summer fete by my son, and you know, I have no idea how they've stayed alive. The little treatment I've given them, but they've gone outside to the garden now, and yeah, I need to do a bit more research in them. Not even sure what the other plant is.
Oh yeah, succulents, they don't need a lot of love. They're amazing. There's some strawberries. Just picked. Not a bad little. They're producing pretty good this year. The mint is starting to get flowers. Up north. Oh, here I'm starting to get some flowers too. Right there. There's the beginning of the mint flower. Let's see. I can get it in there for you. Yeah, it's a pretty purple flower. I got some berries I need to pick. I'll be out here tomorrow morning.
How big is your place, Zach? What sort of acreage?
It's my favorite time of year. The berries are just ending. Well, not the strawberries. They'll go for a while, but all the blackberries and raspberries, and then everything else starts growing.
They look lovely. Can you hear me, Zach?
Yeah.
How big's your place?
My gardens? I got a few of them.
I mean, your property,
Just 3/4 of an acre.
Just. That's like my my estate.
Yeah, out here in the country, it's not that much. There's people with.
No, I understand. I was going to get
4 or 5.
I was going to get 5 acres in Australia, and that was a good sized bit of land. But over in the UK, I mean, 3/4 of an acre. Wow. I mean, I've probably sat on, I don't know, 20th of an acre. But it's still my castle.
There you go. That's right. There's the old compost bucket. Just a week worth of fruit rinds and whatnot. We eat a lot of fruit, especially this time of year when it all comes in season. Yeah, I got some cucumbers I need to be picking. Look at these guys.
Oh yeah, them are looking good.
Yeah.
Mine are still little gherkins.
And then this is a pickle. It said it was a cucumber plant, but I know that's a pickle. That is definitely a pickle.
Well, now I'm confused. I thought a pickle was just a cucumber that's been seeped in some vinegar and some spice and stuff until it's been.
That's what I thought.
No, there definitely is a huge difference between a cucumber and a pickle. The size they'll grow, the shape. Yeah, pickles will be definitely stunted, a lot shorter, and they won't get nearly as well. I actually had pickles get really, really, really round, like 5 inches diameter, round, crazy huge, that I just didn't see, and I let it go for way too long.
So Zach, where did you get your base knowledge of gardening from?
Hashtag test it.
You must have had books and things as well, yeah? I mean,
Well, yeah, and out here in the country, I just did a lot of asking people.
that's a really good way of doing
You
it.
know, there's so many people. Ooh, sorry about that, guys. People are lighting stuff off.
But they let them off during the day. They're fireworks during the day.
Yeah. it's
What's
kinda
that all
pointless.
about?
Yeah, they're just kids.
Boredom and too many fireworks around. That's what that's about. They're doing it here
That's-
too, and they're
That's how
doing the
free we are.
right. They're doing the cannons that go up and explode in the sky, and you can't even see it. I'm like, y'all are just wasting those fireworks, man. Stop.
But it cracks me up because in America you can buy, you know, an AR-15 or whatever it's called, a rocket launcher, and this, that, and the other.
Like gunpowder.
But they're
Make
letting
sound.
off fireworks. Why aren't they just out there with their Kalashnikovs just firing in the air like they do in most countries south of us?
That's every other day out here.
That's a
like
normal weekend drinking, right?
I'd
you know,
really want to come to the America. Unfortunately, I can't. But there you go. Where's my nearest gun-happy state? I wonder, or country. Adam, can you have guns in Italy?
Yeah, rurally you get guns, don't you? I'm not sure it's as strict as UK ownership. Just trying to think, mate.
Well, I remember following old Holborn on Twitter, and he moved to Bulgaria, and first thing he did was bought an AK-47 or a Kalashnikov or something along those lines.
Oh, there you go. It's not that far further, is it? Other side.
No?
Same flight of time, I bet.
Yeah. But it's got to be so. Hungary. I reckon Hungary's got to be gun friendly over there, and Slovakia probably. Hmm.
Yeah, it seems like
Muted.
they'd grow hunting if you were in Hungary.
yeah, I think pretty much all of Eastern Europe is probably pretty gun friendly.
Yeah,
I would
just
think.
us neutered Brits and the Australians, Canadians. They're allowed guns as well, aren't they?
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, get back, guys. You guys get back. You've been a bad boy leaving your yard, so you're grounded. Sorry about that.
How did we get onto
Yeah,
guns?
when I don't know. Oh, people lighting off fireworks like idiots.
Oh
Shoot.
yeah, that's right. During the day. How weird. What's wrong with them?
Well, think we have little bottle rockets. Little bottle rockets you're not going to see at night, right? So the whole point of just lighting them off is just to light them off. So you can light them off whether it's daytime or nighttime. I mean, some can light up or some might whistle or other things, but for the most part, it's just all about lighting stuff. And
What's a bottle rocket?
it's like a very small firework, and it's got a long stick on the end. So you can light the fuse and put the stick inside a bottle to hold the rocket up, the firework up.
Yeah, I know the sort of things. We used to hand hold them and light them and fire them at people, but they still have a good, plume of sparks coming out of the back that made it worthwhile at night time. The only ones during the day we muck around with over here would be crow scarers, which were bangers basically.
I've got a point on this, John. Right, with these rockets, right? Because it was on Nathan's channel. They were talking about rockets and escape velocity, and I don't pretend to understand it. But surely the second a rocket takes off and starts going upwards, it's already escaped gravity because it's denying it. It's going up. So I never understood why they have to go so fast. I don't know if you know that, mate. I was sorry to go
I agree with
off
you.
fireworks.
I agree with you. Once you light it and it starts going up, then it's going
Escape.
against gravity. It's escaped it
Yeah.
I
quite
wouldn't
happily.
use the word escaped. It's fighting gravity.
Well, it's
'Cause eventually it'll
overpowering
come
it.
down. Yeah, it's overpowering.
Gravity
it
exists.
eventually- Yeah.
Are you back in your
Well,
car?
what I mean, my point there is, if it continued with the same thrust, then the further away it gets, then the less the gravitational pull is. Therefore, by definition, if it can escape the ground, it can escape the reducing gravity as it gets further away.
If the thrust remains the same,
Yeah. Oh. So I've never understood why there was this need for great speed, unless it's something to do with.
There's a reason for that, Adam. It's because it's all horseshit.
What is that?
It's just like a big bottle rocket show. That's all it is. Something to keep everybody entertained for a little while.
Zach, have you
Yeah.
suddenly jumped in your car and
Yeah, I had to run uptown real quick.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yeah.
I think that's a cue.
I didn't want to cut it short. We were having an interesting conversation, so I was like, I'll just jump in.
I think it's quite a good segue actually.
I'm ready to hit the sack.
No, you're not.
Right.
You're ready to make love to me after the show, remember?
Oh, you cheeky. Only if you'll meet me in person. I'm not doing cyber sex.
Get a room.
And you're perfectly willing for cybersex, Adam.
I'm equipped.
On that note,
I've got the G-Strap 3000.
I will say my farewells. Thanks, guys. It's been a great show. Good to see you all.
All right,
Thanks
John,
and chat.
Always a pleasure, John. Always.
Cheers, buddy. I'll speak to you soon.
All right.
Yeah.
Have a good weekend, John. Sleep well.
Night, John. Have you got music, John?